Some of the restaurant staff were famous themselves. Everyone knew the manager, Christopher, his high-boned London face, and the easy charm that was just the right side of fawning. Christopher, call me Chris, who was lovely to work for and clear and very funny, unless you were obviously hungover or in the habit of being late. Unless you offended a customer. It was the number one rule in the restaurant, in every good restaurant around the world. The customer is always right. They came to tea for the atmosphere, and for the cooking, certainly. Though they never saw the reality behind the double doors. Vaunted men in white with unnatural concentration, hot faces and drenched hairlines when they took off their caps at the end of the shift. The only women in the kitchen were the Polish dishwashers who doubled as baristas when the bar was mobbed and who refused to speak English to the waiters they disliked. Most of the customers came for the head chef, Daniel Costello, who was so good at cooking that he didn't need stars, though shortly after I left he got his first, which nearly killed me. He had 2 sous chefs who hated each other but stuck it out to work with him. Then the rest of the team, 9 or 10 men, largely in their 20s, who each had their own station along the stainless steel counters that ran the length of the kitchen. They prepped and cooked, shouted and swore. They plated dainty meals in a matter of seconds. They listened to classic hits on the radio or played loud music on the prehistoric stereo above the sinks. They drank vats of Coke from plastic cups with ice that melted in minutes. One of us waiters would do a refill round whenever we caught a lull. We looked after them, and they looked after us. That was the theory. But really, we stayed out of their way, and out of the kitchen unless we were buzzed. Theirs was a different world. You could smell it the moment you went back there, through the spices and sauces and the bins full of leftovers. Talent and testosterone. You hadn't a chance. You were a minnow in a pond, a help, a hindrance, a nothing. The serving staff were at the end of the chain. Attractive bartenders and waiters hired to make the customers feel good about themselves so they'd spend more money. Easy on the eye. That was the phrase used by the owners, a consortium of rich men who treated the restaurant like a fancy canteen where they came and went as they pleased. Easy on the eye. It was literally part of the advertising policy. Everyone in the industry knew. You didn't apply unless you had a certain figure or face. They'd turned away a waitress in her 30s, one with years of Michelin experience. They told her that she wouldn't be able to keep pace, not in this restaurant, this so hot right now restaurant. So I suppose it is fair to say that when I went for the job, I had an idea that I was not uneasy on the eye. But it wasn't something I thought about all that much. And then, after that summer, when I no longer worked there, which is to say when I was fired, I did not want to think about it at all. Even before I got the job, I knew that tea would be a fun place to work. There were rumours about town. A generosity with shift drinks, a runner who doubled as a dealer, people having sex in the bathrooms. The odd private party with DJ such and such. We all thought it was exciting. For Ireland, we thought it was insane. My interview took place in the middle of the restaurant at table 4, as I would later learn, and lasted about 10 minutes. While 2 middle-aged men scanned my CV and body, it was as blatant as those machines at the airport. I watched waitresses fold napkins at the bar. A stocky bartender was teasing a girl who looked younger than me, pretending to knock over her pile of cloth triangles with his tattooed arm. The messing broke off suddenly when Daniel Costello himself approached with a bowl of chips and some dip they all appeared to love. I found it hard not to follow his movements. That uncanniness of seeing a celebrity in real life. He was tall, almost hulkish, with formidable arms and unruly hair. The air in the room seemed thinner with him in it. The low roof gave a little bounce. On the way back he stopped at our table and I avoided his eyes, dark and roving, and not particularly interested in me.